But you know what? We're going to talk about some actual good college basketball.
Let's do it.
Oh, there we go. Let's do it.
Let's get into the hot three. Topic number one. ESPN put out power rankings for last week in college basketball. They put out their top 10. I think they did more than that, but I'm just going to go top 10 with y'all. Their top three, and obviously Purdue lost against
Ohio State.
Ohio State beat them, which it's kind of a
Chris Holtman got fired last week.
it's kind of a weird situation, right? Like, hey, sometimes when you fire a coach, the team plays well. I don't know. Hey, I don't want to throw it out there.
Okay, Kitty. Hey, I hear you.
I'm just joking. Don't get on me, please. Everybody's gonna freak out. But Ohio State obviously beat Purdue. But in this power rankings, they had UConn number 1, obviously, Purdue number 2, and Houston number 3. Those 3 teams are uber legit, right?
Yes, 100%.
Which team have you been most impressed with so far this year?
UConn. And I don't even have to take time with that one.
No.
I'll say Purdue's resume is nuts. They're 15-2 in the quad 1, which is crazy. But UConn is just, man, they have everything you need. They have the shooting that you want. They have the bigs with Donovan Clingan sort of being the guy. Against Marquette, they won 81-53. He had 17, 10, and 2.
And he was 7 of 8 from the floor.
And he was ridiculous from the floor.
Yeah.
They have everything you need, and I think that Danny Hurley, man, we talk about coaches. He's crazy.
He's a wild
But
fella.
we talk about coaches at the top of college basketball, man. Do not
there.
leave him out.
No.
Yeah, don't leave him out anymore.
You can't.
And speaking of program building, he has done that, and he has taken he's taken some time. He's had some continuity. He's brought in transfers that had a little bit of continuity that have stayed for a few years. That's a program builder right there.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. UConn's
and of course Kelvin too.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
UConn's been extremely impressive, but Houston also has, because there was still a little bit of, they lost some things. What are they going to be like this year? Because they did lose some of their best players from last year's team, and they are steamrolling.
I think it's, to me, UConn, Purdue in that order, space, Houston, space, rest of everybody else.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Because like you said with Purdue, I know right now optically we could be like, oh, okay, you could put Houston ahead of them now. But when you look at their resume and just what they've done overall this season, it's hard not to consider them right up there with UConn. And if they have Zach Edey and he's healthy, they're going to be a hard team to beat. They're going to be a tough day at the office, because when you got a 7'4" center, that's tough.
And they're playing like their guards are playing good ball.
That's the difference
That's the thing. Braden
between
Smith,
last year.
Fletcher Lawyer, they're actually playing good ball, and they're not turning the ball over at a high rate, and they can still use Zach Edey in the same way.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between them a year ago versus now.
Right. Because that was the big knock on them, was
Their
guard play.
Yep. All right, so those 3 are obviously contenders, right? So UConn, Purdue, Houston, they could easily be in the championship game. Honestly, I was saying this during the break. UConn and Houston national championship game would just be nutso. It would be a war in every sense of the word. It'd be crazy. All right, but let's go through this. I want to go through 4 through 10 with y'all in their power rankings, and I want you to tell me, are they pretenders or are they contenders?
Okay.
All right, here we go. Number 4 is the Arizona Wildcats. They are 20-5. Previous ranking was 5. This week they play Washington State and Washington. I don't know what they did, but
I'm going to say, just for the sake of the unknown, I like Tommy Lloyd. I like what he's built at Arizona. Gonzaga hasn't been the same since he left Mark Few.
Right.
I'm going to say pretenders, though, because the Pac-12 sucks. It's horrible. It's really bad.
Yep.
And you have, like, Washington State is second in the Pac-12 right now. USC and UCLA are complete no-shows. So it's more of an unknown with Arizona. And they lost to Florida Atlantic earlier in the year.
Yep.
So I've seen they're capable of losing games like that. So I'm going to say pretenders, because I think their record and their resume is boosted up by a really bad Pac-12.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And we're probably, over the next 5 or 6 teams, you're probably going to hear a lot of that, because it has been a lot of up and down for these teams. They get the big wins against bad opponents. They beat up on inferior opponents. And then sometimes in those big games against quality teams, they show up, and then other times they don't.
Flat.
So I'm fair with calling Arizona a pretender at this point.
All right, number 5, our good friends from the East, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Ooh.
They are 19-6. They were previous ranking was 8th. They smacked Arkansas and Vanderbilt. Are they pretenders or are they contenders?
I'd call them a contender.
I'm going to go contender as well, man.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to go contender. Dalton Connect is a freakazoid.
Yeah, he is.
And he does it with great efficiency, and he doesn't turn the ball over, and he can get his teammates involved. I think, like, when you look defensively, they're phenomenal. And this is one of the best offensive teams I think,
that
they've had.
that Rick Barnes has had.
Under Rick Barnes. And Vescovi's still solid.
Yep.
Zy Ziegler is...
Oh, yeah, Zakai Ziegler.
Sorry.
It was kind of interesting, though, because the start of the year was Zakai Ziegler. I thought he was going to be the reason they were held back because he had the big injury last year.
Right. ACL.
So he was playing kind of slow and not like himself, but he's picked it up. He's not getting knockaways. He's playing pretty efficient on the offensive end now because he's back sort of at full strength.
Yeah.
So I think they're a contender. I really do.
Yeah, I think they're
but
good.
The Tennessee freaking track record
It's
under Rick Barnes.
But even this year, there's still been a little bit of that roller coaster action.
Yeah, but I again with Rick Barnes' teams, if he can get the offense to match the defense to at least a certain extent,
right,
I can call them a contender. But we know that they just tend to fall short in pressure moments.
I'll say this. I watch a lot of Tennessee games because they're honestly a very fun team to watch. Dalton Connect is one of the only guys, the only clear, obvious pro-level basketball player in college basketball.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
That uses pro-level movement.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Good footwork. That whole thing,
and can make it work in a college basketball game that the rules do not allow for that kind of movement to work.
Isn't it nuts though?
He's
Northern Colorado,
so talented, man.
Northern Colorado. Yeah. Wasn't he a 2-year player in Northern Colorado before he went to Tennessee?
Yeah, I think so. Dude,
like, damn, man, holy hell.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's a come up.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll tell you this though, I think the linchpin for that Tennessee team to make a deep run,
Josiah Jordan James,
him too. If he can have his mid-range game, if he can, kind of gash those zones up, like because they're going to try to make them, they're going to zone them up and try to because you can't stay in front of Zakai and you can't stay with Dalton. You got to try to zone them up the whole time. But I think Jonas Adu, he's
a monster.
When he is on defensively, he is an eraser on every level. Yeah. And so I love the Tennessee team. Yeah. I think they're so good.
They're a very well balanced team.
All right, next.
Hold on.
Okay. All right.
Maybe we should have just done top 5.
Is this going to take too long?
We'll rapid fire.
Yeah, we'll rapid fire the
top 5.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew I wanted to get to Tennessee because there's going to be a lot of Tennessee fans.
And we'll go back and forth. How about this? I'll take 6. You take 6.
Iowa State Cyclones 20-5. Gabe.
I'm going to say pretender. I'm not going to buy it yet. They're at the top of the Big 12 right now, but they're playing Houston in a big game tonight. So obviously tomorrow we'll have a final on that. Mm-hmm. So I think Houston's at home and they could take the top spot in the Big 12. I'm just going to say pretender for the simple fact that I think Iowa State has a lot of guys that haven't quite been able to get to these heights yet. So I'm just going to call them a pretender at this moment.
All right. Marquette Golden Eagles. Christian.
I struggle with this one because I love what Marquette has, and I know same thing like talking optically with what just happened to Purdue. They just got smashed by UConn, but I still like them.
They beat Kansas early in the year.
They beat Kansas. I still like Tyler Collect. Still like Cam Jones. I like what they have on the roster.
Who's their big? He's a stud, man. He can move all over the place.
Can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name right now. I'll look it up. You keep going.
But no, I mean, I think that's one of the. Here you go. You talking about Oso Ighodaro?
Yes, Oso Ighodaro.
Yeah.
He can play.
Yeah. No, they can
run the floor.
They've got talent. They've got shooters. They've got guard play. Like they are good in most levels. I think defensively sometimes they leave a little bit to be desired, but the games when they're on, they can score with pretty much anybody in the country.
Yep. Yeah. Cam Jones.
So
Memphis,
contender.
Killer.
Contender. Yep.
Oh wow. I thought you would. Oh man, I'm surprised by that one. All right, number 8, North Carolina Tar Heels.
I wanted this one.
Oh God, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna say Pretender for right now.
Really?
I disagree.
I disagree too.
I don't quite know how much I buy into them at this particular moment. Baycott I like as a big. If Harrison Ingram is a stud, but I just have to see more experience when you get into these situations. Yep. RJ Davis has the experience, but he also has the bad experience of last year.
That's fair.
I'm just gonna say Pretender for now. But this is all these things are up for debate as we get close to the tournament.
Here's your team, Christian. Kansas Jayhawks. Pretender or contender?
I wish I would have got this one.
We should have switched.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go contender with them.
Wow.
I think I am.
I would have gone the other way.
McCullough has to be good for them to be.
DeJuan Harris has to be good.
Right.
He's been hurt and stuff. And
no, they do have caveats, but they have McCullough, they have Hunter Dickinson. Like they still have the top end talent to do it.
It's just different.
It is different. Do they have to all do it on the same night for them to do it? Yeah, probably.
They're not an unreasonably good defensive team. Right. They're not an unreasonably good shooting team.
No, that's
true. That's where I run into it. Is like, man, and I give Bill Self a shit ton of credit
for sure,
because you're bringing in Hunter Dickinson. He has Kenny and I just inside baseball. We talked about it before the show. He has not ran plays through the post at this rate since Cole Aldrich.
Yeah.
Like, it's been that long since he's done that. Because Joel Embiid was hurt and, like, in and out, and they didn't really use him at that rate. I think he was the fourth leading scorer on that team.
Yeah.
But for Bill Self to have this style of team and still have this level of success, you give him a lot of credit. Yeah. And I don't know if you can ever... I'll give you contender. I would have said pretender just because I don't think they're actually.
But can you ever completely?
You can never
out
rule out Bill Self in Kansas.
I just feel like everything has to go right.
It does.
I agree.
It does. It does.
Johnny Furphy has to have incredible.
Nick Timberlake, what was that? What's he been? He's been nothing, man.
I don't know.
That's weird too because I actually really like Nick Timberlake.
He can shoot. I would have loved him at Memphis, but it has not been good.
No.
All right, Christian, last one.
Nope.
Number 10.
It's me. I'm last one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gabe. Number 10, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Oh, God. And this is just copy and paste. I don't give a damn who you are. I'm copy and pasting every year with the Nate Oates coach team. I don't really care who's on the team because he's had really good talent. I'm going to say pretender. You're not going to be able to consistently just get wide open threes, get to the, knock down or get easy layups at the rim. If you're putting up 33s a game, you're going to have bad.
Yeah.
You're going to have bad shooting nights. Yep. And to get 5 wins in a row in a tournament setting, just putting up that many threes and trying to get to 100 points, I just think you're leaving way too much up to chance.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about Alabama.
Yeah.
And you're just living and dying by the three, and then eventually, even if you have a nice run, you're going to have a team that closes out on the three-point line that makes it hard for you, and you're just not. Those shots aren't going to drop at the same rate.
Yep. And to add to that, before we wrap this up, like if they couldn't do it last year with that team, with Brandon Miller and all the talent that team had, then I don't think they can do it this year.
Yeah, it's just.
I agree.
I think that's. I hate to say it. Nate Oates has done a good job, but he sort of is right there with
Rick Barnes.
No, he's a better coach than Penny Hardaway. I'm going to say that right now. People can hate me in the comments, but it's just a fact. It's just, come on.
Yeah.
Like, don't argue that with me. But he sort of fits in the category of, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm not going to, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
So deviate from the system.
He does not have answers if they don't knock down three balls.
That's a good point.
It's fair.
I like that.